this remark. I want to give you just a couple definitions because it was beautiful to start working with what's out there. So Peter Senge is a world-renowned business author, and he defines mastery as the discipline continuing, clarifying, and deepening our personal vision, of focusing our energies, of developing patience, and of seeing reality objectively. And I chose it for the course because we do a lot of each of those pieces. And the idea of continuing clarifying every day, every year, where are you now? Where are you now? Where do you want to be next? Where do you want to be next? But also the objective reality, the practice of observation. So Insight 1, 2, and 3 carry all those principles, but we don't always keep them in mind. But observation is a key to liberation and to freedom. And so we practice it in the class, that self-observation to move to the next place. And now, Ariana, so many people are writing about mindfulness because it's the same thing. It's like, how do I start coming present with myself and really seeing from a place of compassion what I'm doing, and then do something different if it's not working. But then we moved and defined it this way for our class. So self-mastery is the ability to respond to any situation in a way that represents our true nature and loving, and to make choices that create a life of fulfillment in alignment with our heart's purpose. So that's what I think the Master's class is really about. And like I was sharing with you, part of the beauty of it for me and us was that came, I think it came in the morning. One morning it just showed up as the definition, and I think it's really a good insight definition.
Any questions anyone has about it?
So in our understanding, this is a little model about what we deal with as human beings. And the class is open to people from all kinds of spiritual paths and all kinds of people that have never done any spiritual work. So I know some of you in here have done extensive spiritual work. There will be people in the class that have only done things like insight and all of that. But we wanted to include the idea that we are a multidimensional being. Regardless of what we call it, that's what we are. And what happens is we tend to either overcreate or undercreate on the different levels. So the pyramid just represents what it feels like when it's going well. And then when it goes out of balance, like if you overcreate or undercreate emotionally, the thing shakes.
Sorry.
That's okay. And then same with the unconscious. So we help people identify where's your, I call it the Achilles heel. Where's your weak spot that always topples you? We all have one. And if we can get friendly with it and kind of know what our dynamic is, and is it an overcreation, is it an undercreation, what is it? So that then as we go forward in terms of expansion, we know that about ourselves and can move more effectively. So that's that. And then, because our beloved John Roger is the founder of Insight, we also start the class by letting people know that there's another way to look at those levels, and that's to look at as a transcendent possibility as a soul. That if we can come conscious on all those levels and start to move more effectively, there's a possibility to progress into a higher awareness. But in the class itself, we keep it out of any kind of form of spiritual teaching, but most people take on a daily practice of some kind because it's necessary. It's really not easy to live in the heart unless you're doing something every day to nurture your heart, your soul, your spirit. That's all I'd like to say, David.
All right.
I don't think we can talk about that.
So part of the context of the class is one of the basic principles of mastery is to live in the present. And what you'll notice is that often people tend to go out into a future, or they'll go back into a fear-based past. And you can most often track, when you're sitting in one or the other. You can have positive energy around a future vision. There's nothing wrong with that. And in the present, you can think about what do I want to create for myself in the future, right? So there's nothing wrong with being in this future vision, and you can often go into the past and clean and clear in the present, right? Have you ever forgiven something from your past actions that are related to that are really more around being in the present. And so this class is really simple in some respects. How are you living in your present vision? We'll consistently course correct when people start to move into a past fear or a future fear that's not allowing them to have what they want, but projecting them into something that they may not want, and try and keep them in this state of consciousness where all things are present. You know, we talk about the three selves. We'll use the reference points that are really present in all of insight. We'll talk about the heart chart. We'll give people those references. But being in the present is really where the juice is.
And it's alignment. So the other tenet of the class is that when we really move to our heart and we really start working with the basic and the conscious and the high self, then there's that alignment that allows us to move into the world in a different way.